It's Nick again, Nick Mueller, your writing mentor for English 101. Um, I kind of realized while I was going through the materials for Project 2, which is over here, that there's quite a bit that's being asked of you in terms of instructions. It's like 2,200 something words. And then there's like the two textbook chapters and so on. So, in sympathy, I've decided to go through a social media profile. Yeah, you got me to go on Facebook, um, and just do what's basically being asked of you on the fly. So, if I start talking kind of fast, you know why. So, the social media profile I've chosen belongs to Neil deGrasse Tyson. He is the host of the PBS show Cosmos. He is an astrophysicist. He works at the American Museum of Natural History. He used to be over at WGBH, which I think is a TV station. He attended Columbia University, Harvard University, and went to the Bronx High School of Science. So that right there is an example of ethos because that speaks to his credibility. Um, there aren't exactly a lot of slouches who study astrophysics and are the astrophysicist in residence at the American Museum of Natural History. So in just that intro, uh, we've gotten to the ethos element of his profile, where the credibility comes from. Okay, and it soon enough happens that we see that he's just kind of hanging out in New Mexico, and that could be considered the pathos side of this account of his, because it's personalizing. It shows that he likes eating s'mores just like us, and he likes a nice campfire, and he also thinks of it in terms of a dance of plasma choreographed by the forces of thermodynamics. So just a little kind of smart. All right, so that's in just the first two sections I've read. And here again, there's some personalized content, again, recently from a trip to New Mexico of some kind. Um, and you can tell that he manages to bring the natural world, but as he experiences it in his daily life, together with his professional interests. I mean, kind of combining s'mores at a campfire with thermodynamics. That's a pretty impressive thing to do. So I think it's combining the personal and professional, and and as a means of accounting for like what he does in general, which is he's an advocate for science, not just astrophysics, but also the biological sciences, engineering. He advocates for like scientific literacy, we could call it. And I think that's why he includes these specific and often beautiful examples of how he encounters what may be pretty abstract to the rest of us, like thermodynamics, in just, hanging out, walking around, eating s'mores. Um, this may help to locate where he works, where he lives, and how he sees the world he lives in at another personal level. This is a post he brought over from Instagram. Uh, it's on Manhattan Henge, I think he called it, and it shows that he's comfortable, I think, in the city as well as in more rural environments. So I think that also speaks to his role, his public role as a science advocate in general. Um, and here we have a little bit of a flashback to 2014. So here he's talking about Star Talk Radio. So it's a little time capsule. I guess it's like the audio equivalent of like a compilation on YouTube. So it shows you, other places he's been career-wise. And so there's radio, there's Cosmos, which is TV, which I mentioned earlier up in the profile. There's the side of him that enjoys the city based on that photo from New York or Manhattan Henge, I think he calls it, and then there's those beautiful nature photos further up to, closer to the present. Um, and that combines with, for me, combines with this intro here to show me that he's a pretty well-rounded guy. I mean, he gets around to all these different places and into all these different things. And so far as I've seen, he on the social media page and elsewhere, I've seen that he kind of synthesizes them. There's a harmony between what he's saying, uh, the logos, the account, the argument even for scientific literacy and specific aspects of scientific literacy as they relate to current social events, we can call them euphemistically. And then it's, I think, what I kind of get to in this infographic over here about ethos, the writer, pathos, the audience, uh, logos, the message or account, I think I called it a minute ago, and how these work together. I think whether intentionally or just by posting what he wants to post on Facebook, I feel like Neil deGrasse Tyson has succeeded in doing that and showing that the writer is, or the author of the social media post is very much like the person out in the world doing his thing, and that person out in the world doing his thing is very much like the guy who was on Star Talk, and also the guy who was the host who is the host of Cosmos, and who currently works at the American Museum of Natural History. So for me, I think it's really timely that, or rather how, these different posts of his work together, because when an author is really consistent, um, ethos, pathos, and logos all line up pretty well. Even when an author is shifting to something very different, like, let's say, so yeah, even when going from something like marshmallows or making s'mores over here to New York Henge and so forth, there's still something there that's the same. I think for Neil deGrasse Tyson, it might be his values, who he is as a person. And for me, it's, that's what persuades me as a reader, as part of his audience, that says, "Oh, yeah, I can give this guy's thoughts, what he has to say in writing in a video as a host of Cosmos. I can like give this my attention and know that I'm, or feel that I'm in good hands." And it's that kind of feeling that's evoked for me by the consistency between how he presents himself over here and how he presents himself at the campfire in this little video here, and how he kind of puts the Cosmos hosting up front at the very top. How he puts all those together, and they're seamless. I mean, and that to me, like, okay, I can kind of tell this guy is all about science, and he's also bringing it into very everyday kind of activities. Um, so the message I get out of that, the logos of it for me, is that like he's an effective advocate for science, for scientific causes, for scientific literacy, and that I can give him you know my attention, my time as a reader, and that's a really valuable thing to ask from your audience is their time, because you may not even know them. You're probably not ever going to meet them. So when you're asking someone to read something, when they have to read something for a class, it's worth respecting that time and trying to put yourself forth, however, whatever you're writing about, as a credible writer, and showing that you have evidence, that you have the knowledge, that you've considered what you're writing about and you've found the evidence to back up claims you might make. So that's my 10-minute rhetorical analysis of Neil deGrasse Tyson's Facebook profile. All right, I hope you like that. I'll talk to you soon.